tend to fall to the negative, or we tend to fall to fixed, when a lot of things we could be looking at it more as a growth opportunity.
All right, everybody, it's that time again. Welcome to another episode of TaxProTalk, or hashtag TPT. Jim, who do we have with us today?
We are privileged to have with us today Caleb Jenkins, enrolled agent with RLJ Financial in Northern California. And he is a CPA practice advisor, 40 under 40 professional. He's been on Insightful Accountants Top 100 ProAdvisor list. He serves on our ProConnect Tax Customer Council, which I lead, and I'm thrilled to have him. He's also an Intuit trainer writer network and serves on the council for other vendors like ADP and Divvy. So welcome, Caleb. We are thrilled to have you with us today.
Welcome, Caleb.
Hey, it's great to be with you both.
All right, Robbie, what is our topic for today on TaxProTalk?
Absolutely. Today we're going to talk about mindset, fixed or growth, positive or negative. So coming back to the mindset of fixed or growth, negative or positive, especially with COVID, I think the knee-jerk reaction was to hold down the fort and, just batten down a fixed mindset for businesses. Is that your experience too? Did you pivot to a growth mindset and see opportunity? And then also, how did that affect your customers ultimately?
Yeah, so the answer is all the above.
Yeah.
But inside of our firm, whatever, I think there's all those mindsets. There is those mindsets within each of us, I think, too. Potentially at different junctions. I mean, news flying at us all the time, all the days. At some point, you got to stop focusing on the news and actually do something rather than just being captured by the news. And I think part of that too is the mindset is, are you going to let someone else control the narrative, or are you going to define the outcome that you want to see? And I think that's a huge thing on the mindset too, because back to the news aspect, going into COVID, I found myself just captivated by it. Like I was watching the cases, I was seeing the deaths, and I was seeing all this stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is changing. I was following the California stay-at-home orders, and I was following the counties, and I don't know, I got fairly educated on it. Well, I mean, there was some of that was good, but I mean, at some point it was like, it's not relevant to me anymore. It's relevant to know the stuff I need to know, but I should have been just letting a little drip feed my information, but then still producing information and content and whatever to our clients. Well, I wasted probably a couple days to a week, and just going into COVID, when I could have been using that to communicate to our clients, to be able to do something with it. Well, I started to realize that in myself, and so I think I made a pivot. But there's even externally with our clients. Well, so a lot of clients going into COVID thought, well, we just need to shut down. Clients people need to go home. I have one client that's a gym membership place, and so he just sent everybody home. Well, I started talking to him, and he's like, well, there's nothing here. Well, you got the PPP loan and et cetera. And he just, but then he was like, well, what am I going to do with this? Well, maybe there's something else you could be doing than what you've always done. And now let's think through that. What can you do? Well, maybe you can spend this time to actually go reformat your gym to a new format or something. You can do some upgrades there so that when people can come back, you can do something better. Well, maybe you can shift to online coaching. Maybe you can do, I don't know, just lots of different ways of thinking about it. Well, so a lot of that, well, he I mean, that client hadn't thought about any of that kind of stuff. He was just approaching it with this is bad, this is negative, this is we have this fixed outcome that is being pushed upon us, whatever. But then other people, it's like they saw it as a perfect opportunity, and so I have a client that it does some stuff with Internet of Things devices, and they started pushing into different things with contracts with hospitals and other places. And it was really cool because they pivoted and they've had like a triple growth year and so far. And so it's a whole different perspective into the outcomes and how somebody approaches what seems like a crisis. And not to say that it's not a crisis, because there is crisis to it, but how we respond to that can dictate the outcome.
Yeah, love that. And Caleb, were you talking about within your firm mostly?
I would say within our firm, within other firms that I've chatted with, other people. Yeah. It would be just generally what I've encountered. There's all the above, especially in that mindset is, I mean, and there's not one of them that's necessarily always right and one of them that's always wrong. And I think we need to focus on that. We will probably always have a little bit of all of those internally and ourselves even. And so sure. We'll focus on something as a fixed mindset or something as a growth mindset, or we'll look at something as negative or positive. And it's really determining when is the proper time for each mindset. We tend to fall to the negative, or we tend to fall to fixed, when a lot of things we could be looking at it more as a growth opportunity or as a positive event or something rather than a negative something. But we tend to fall to the negative or to the fixed, but there's a lot of things there. So,
So would you say as accounting professionals, we could do a better job with our small businesses here? Like I think how you preface
there's
both the points important.
I would start with ourselves and then shift to our small businesses.
Cool.
Because we need to know what mindset we have before we can help the small businesses that we're trying to help with their mindset.
For sure. I love the idea of starting individually and then looking at the collective, externally into the market.
Yeah. And so we've heard from a lot of tax pros that they're doing a lot of work. And again, I think started very chaotically, similar to you. They were struggling to track who they were helping. And a lot of them were concerned about getting paid for the work that they were doing. How are you all doing with that in delivering these whole new services that weren't even, nobody had any clue about all this analysis and advisory work, 6 months ago, and now it's an enormous part of what you do. How are you all doing at helping clients, but also still helping, get paid and grow your practice?
We that's one area we haven't really nailed on this with COVID is it's a little bit difficult to have a client that's hurting, that needs help, and to just pivot and charge them more for something that they don't have the ability to pay right now. What we did we have a lot of our clients that are on a monthly pricing agreement already, and so we have a lot of those that we actually, some of them we decreased the monthly pricing to help them for the short term. But it's all built, we shifted a lot of those to be built into our monthly pricing. We said, let's, instead of just having an annual conversation about our pricing, let's shift to be every couple of months process to just chat about it. If you have a good relationship with your clients, I think generally they are willing to do that and have a good, they want to help you, and they want to make sure that everything's good. So we might decrease our pricing for a few months, but with the overall goal of maintaining our cash flow and maintaining our profitability in the midst of it, and eventually potentially coming out ahead due to our relationship with them. So probably not the perfect productized pricing based on what we're delivering. There's probably people that are killing it on that side and doing really well. We haven't necessarily done that, but yeah.
Okay. And do you see this, so advisory kind of has been dumped into the laps of tax professionals. Do you see that continuing beyond this crisis? So let's say next year and maybe even the next year, do you see this continuing, or do you see tax pros mostly retreating back into the traditional work that we've done and are comfortable with?
I would say it goes back to the mindset. So, and this is huge with mindset. It's I think a lot of the traditional firms, they realized that they needed that they had a I don't know what the right word, a commission almost to help with these external things that were not normally theirs to do. And so they went ahead and did it. They pivoted during that time to pivot, but a lot of people are longing for those good old days, and which were not that good old days back then, and they realize it, but for some reason it just feels so much like a good old days back then now. So, so I think, I don't know, I feel like there's going to be about a 50-50 split or something like that, where there's going to be half the profession that pivots back to the way that they always did things. And then the other half which within that half is probably a good chunk that were already embracing new things, different ways of doing things, working with their clients. But there's probably a lot of growth there. The areas of, even with our clients, so too, I think some clients are realizing that things could change. And where they were always the ones that were saying, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to use your Zoom for client meetings and whatever. I want the face-to-face, whatever. Well, some of them actually started using it and are like, well, that's pretty cool. I can be at home. I can pull out my stuff where in my natural environment and whatever, and I can see your screen, and when you share it, and I mean all this good stuff, and you can record the meeting and send me a recording afterwards, and just all those cool things. It's like, well, yeah, I've been telling you that for years, but it's, so there's that shift in our clients as well that I think is interesting going now too.
Yeah, that's a great insight. And again, not sure that anything will go completely back to the way it used to be, but definitely see a lot of trends that will continue, like virtual firms, much more video meetings. And like you said, some firms leaning into and continuing on that advisory path, even after the crisis begins to settle in. So great insights.
So Jim, that just about wraps up another episode of TaxProTalk, or hashtag
TPT.
Caleb, any final words?
Hey, it was great to be with you all today, and it was great to chat and just share together. So I hope this has been a great blessing for everybody that's taken the opportunity to watch.
Thank you for watching Tax Pro Talk, brought to you by Intuit ProConnect for tax and accounting professionals.
Here we go. All right. Robbie, what's the topic on Tax Pro Talk today?
I'm out.
Time. It's all
right. All right.
I had it better the last time.
It's contagious. Okay, let's try it again.
Thanks, Caleb. Tax Pro Talk out.